The moment we saw Ogerpon's other masks, a few things struck me immediately. The first thing was that I found it really interesting that Ogrepon had 4 different masks. 4 is a very interesting number, and that's not just because it's Kukui's favorite number, or because of the lead 4 or anything. In the world of Scarlet and Violet, we know through Miss Ryford's class that Paldea was once different pieces of land. Different countries, and around 800 years ago, the Paldean Empire unified with the surrounding countries to become the modern day Paldea. We don't really know how many countries joined together as far as I can tell, but we do know that one day a merchant from the east came by to Paldea and sold the treasure of ruins to the king of Paldea. In his glee and haste, he bought all of them, and that same night, disaster struck and the Paldean king had to call upon the country to take on the 4 Ruinous Legendaries and seal them away. And if you look at the map of Paldea, each of the Ruinous Legendary Pokemon are actually tucked away into 4 corners of a region, far away from each other and each inhabiting its own area. What's interesting is around the time this whole event happened, it was said to be during the ancient times of Paldea. So presumably, if they're far off like this and the Paldean Empire unified with surrounding countries to become the region, these are the surrounding countries. Because this is the modern day Paldea. And if that's the case, then my assumption is that Paldea was its own country and the surrounding it were the 4 others. 4 others that the king in the ancient times wanted to disrupt, so he kept the Ruinous Pokemon there, far away from his own land. This is before the later king would unite the 5 countries, of course. Regardless, whether the history or geography is right or wrong, there are 4 Ruinous Legendary Pokemon coming from the 4 corners of Paldea, and coincidentally, there are 4 different masks that Ogerpon has as well, and coincidentally, the 4 masks bear some similarities to the 4 Ruinous Legendaries. Now I know they're not exactly the same, but they are somewhat the same for sure. Let's go over them real quick. Ogerpon is obviously a Grass-type Pokemon, and the Teal Mask retains the Grass type. This is similar to Wochit's Grass typing. The Heartflame Mask gives Ogerpon the additional Fire typing, and it resembles Chiyu's Fire typing. The Wellspring Mask may be a Water-type mask, but Water is most similar to Ice, and Chien-Pao is an Ice-type Pokemon. And finally, the Cornerstone Mask may be a Rock-type mask, and Ting-Lu may be a Ground-type Pokemon, but Rock and Ground are also the most similar to one another in types. So there is similarity between all the types here. But beyond the types, the masks and the ruins are similar in other ways too. They're similar in the sense that all 8 of them represent different emotions. The Ruinous Legendaries embodies grudges, hatred, fear, and envy, while the masks have a mischievous, crying, fierce, and crazy expression respectively. So I definitely think something is up. My personal theory is that the events of Kitakami and Ogerpon happened at some point during the time the Ruinous Pokemon came to be, and maybe it was before the time that Paldea was made into one, which is why Ogerpon and its friend were said to have come from a distant land, but as they wandered for some time, it's likely they went around to all 4 corners first before arriving in Kitakami. Because again, the mask maker took Terra Crystals and Terra Shards from Ogerpon's friend to create these masks. It's possible that the merchant himself was from Kitakami, and that's why the 4 masks and 4 ruins match up so well, both in terms of emotional aspect and in terms of the types. It could be that Kieran and Carmine's ancestor had some knowledge of this already because, again, the merchant that sold the ruins was from the east, but there's no way to tell for sure. But to me, I personally feel like there has to be something going on between these 2 sets because it's far too much of a coincidence for me to believe that these 2 sets are this similar with nothing related to them at all. But what do you guys think? Also, I just dropped the Masks of the Feared merch. If you want to check it out, please do. It'll be up for all the month of November. It's a perfect video to show it off, and if you're a fan of Ogerpon, you're definitely gonna love it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Take care of yourselves, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you over on the next video, alright? Later.